best version of this would be to do both, right? To follow the system, to get feedback, and then go out and do it. That's always going to be the best version. So that's what we're going to shoot for today. So let me screen share so I can pull up what we got going on, and I'll show you, this contractor funnel, what it's produced. Quite a bit for very little bit of money. I know that much. And let's see, I got to get to my email sitting in there somewhere. I'm getting about 10,000 emails a day from it. And let's see, Google Forms. So let's view the summary. So yeah, I got 93 responses. Geez, that's even crazier than I thought. So you can see that kind of got out of hand, didn't it? Like 93 responses. We had 29 the other day. So I mean, just a rough overview of this. Do you guys think there's not a couple good people in these 93 responses? I mean, these are 93 people that took time to fill out an application. My guess is there's a handful of people in here that could change the game for us, right? And that's what we're looking for. Like I said, there's high-level contractors that work affordably, reliably, get done quickly, don't give you any shit. They got great attitudes. They're just willing to go and knock it out and do what they got to do. So that's who we're looking for, right? They're in here right now. So anyhow, that's the responses. I would say since Nikki didn't call her responses, let's call them for her. And hopefully, what I need to do? I want to see if we can get Nancy on here, because I feel like Jim and Nancy are supposed to be calling theirs. I'd like to find out. I wanted to get feedback from everyone to see kind of what was working for you, what wasn't. That was actually the purpose of the call. And we don't have that. It kind of doesn't help, because a lot of this is going to be about you guys testing it and telling me what you think, because not just what I can do, it's how are you doing with it, right? But I'll show you today. I forgot I can't turn my phone off because I call people. So, all right, cool. Well, let's jump in and see. So I'm going to basically just go through here, and we're going to do the same thing we did the other day. I'm going to go through here. So we know Jorge was someone we liked for the painting. I do remember him. So Jorge, he's got just me. Or no, maybe he ain't someone we liked. So next guy.
I have the people written down. The link that you sent me in the email didn't work. When I clicked on it, it just sent me to the Google form. Like, it didn't send me. I tried clicking on summary and it didn't have the summary. So when you were going through them the other day, I wrote the names down as fast as I could. I mean, I didn't
have their numbers and everything, or no?
Yeah. There was a couple that I didn't get the numbers, but I think the top three, the three that we were looking at, I did. I mean,
This flat roofer guy. So what are the top three you were looking at? Let's find them.
So the top three, the one guy was Julio. It was Javier. Yeah, so the Julio was the Julio drywall and painting. It was like a 202 number.
We liked Cassandra, right? We liked her.
Yeah, so we had up through 1 through 29 is what we had the other day. And then
okay. Let's start.
Go ahead.
I'm going to start calling people then. I'm going to jump right in because I only got about an hour. So I just want to get a couple phone calls in for each. And I do want to try to take 1 second, though, to see if we can get Jim or Nancy on.
We're here. Can you hear us?
Awesome. I just want to make sure you guys were here because I'm going to try to call some roofers too. Have you called any roofers to this point, or are you getting ready to get
He did. Okay. Jim did.
Tell me a little bit, give me some feedback on your experience with it. And because the reason I want to get that feedback is I want to see if I can address anything you're experiencing on my call. So that way it'll help me kind of guide to what really you want to learn, like what's the biggest thing. So tell me a little bit about how it's been going.
Well, one guy was not available. His voice mailbox was full.
Okay.
And one guy we did get immediately on the phone. He's a flat roofer. His dad owns a business and they have a license and insurance.
Okay.
15 years experience. He works with he has 2 to 3 guys available, counting his dad. He sounds like he's maybe in his 30s or something, but of course his dad's older.
An African American, interestingly enough.
Well, let him do the job. What's his name?
Kenny.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but let him do the work and then prove. But so right now, everything you've gotten is just real surface level stuff, by the way. It's the bullshit. So it's
Right.
all stuff, anyone can get on the phone and tell you, oh, I got 3 guys. I've been doing it 15 years. That's all kind of the meaningless stuff we get caught up in. The next level of it is, tell me, like, what did you discover about them? What did you, when you were talking with them, like reading between the lines, tell me what your kind of feeling was, or were you just focused on some of the surface level stuff? Because that is what we do when we're new, right? We just focus on the surface level, and it doesn't give us any ability to really qualify. So obviously that's what I'm going to go into on some of the calling. Were you able to get to anything that you feel like would give you like a higher level of understanding if you had to take an educated guess of whether this guy's going to be reliable or not?
Well, he did say that I asked him about investors, and sure enough, he said, "Well, yeah, we work with these real estate agents all the time." So that was, part of what you'd already covered.
Yeah, because they think that's the same thing.
So he doesn't have real estate investment experience. We talked to him about being paid by the job, and he said, yes, I do that all the time. I get paid by the job. We did not, I did not say, well, how many guys for how many days at whatever the rate is. I did ask him how many guys and how long he said he thought it'd take him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said a day and a half with the 3 guys.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, for a 2,000 square foot house, I guess, right? Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. I mean, he hasn't seen it yet, obviously. So, so I wouldn't hold that against him right now because he hasn't really seen it. But it sounds like he has some confidence in getting it done quick. It does sound like he's confident to me. I think there's a lot, obviously, you won't know. Unfortunately, yours won't be as easy as Nikki's, because with yours, there's a lot we don't know. We got to go out and do a little research and discovery because we don't totally know what's going on with this roof. Now, if your roof was a 15 square shingled roof, or just say a 10 square roof that's flat, we'd have some really exact numbers we could talk about, like how long, what's your price per square yard, square per square that you lay, all those things, right? But we can't do that because we don't really know we don't know the exact scope of work for your roof, unfortunately. So that's going to require a little bit of us figuring some stuff out. So there is what I normally do when I have an issue or something that I totally can't just measure and kind of standardize, I do tend to get a couple estimates from the right people to just get more information. I'm not paying attention to any of the money part they're saying. I'm really just questioning them around like what they're going to do, why they got to do it. Is there a simpler way? Is there a way to just clean this roof up and make it more presentable? I'm just asking those questions, if that makes sense, because then I'm seeing how they answer.
Right. Okay. We did give him a budget when he said a day and a half. Our budget is 10, and I told him 8. Maybe more, because it needs some repairs in some places before he can put the roof on.
Yeah, well, you're not going to be able to do that, obviously. You're talking about 8 in labor or material labor?
No, we didn't say labor or material. So
yeah, so you're just no reason to talk about money right now, because you don't know. Again, you can't talk money until you know the scope of what you're doing. But when you get a couple people out, what you'll try to get from them is like, how many squares is this? How many guys are going to take? How many days? What are you doing specifically? Because as they're explaining to you what they're doing specifically, and you can start to measure this and standardize it, then you now have a scope of work. So let's pretend that you get 5 estimates and you spend, a half day out there talking to 5 different roofers. By the time you're done, they've measured it and they told you, hey, this is a 20 square roof we have to do, and we got to do this and that. And you start to hear some commonality between a couple people who agree that the squares sound right. Well, you start writing all that down now. And now what we probably would do to get real serious about this roof, since this roof doesn't need to be done day one you settle, because it's not leaking right now. So it can get done at any time. So since there's such a big job and there's the potential to get this done a lot cheaper, we would take as much time as necessary to get the right person. So after you get 4 or 5 people out there, you've talked to them, you've gotten a better understanding of what the heck's going on with your roof and maybe some different options, some different creative options. Now you might put another ad out. That ad might be really specific of like, here's some pics of the roof, here's some things you can do, here's some, here's what it is, here's the exact scope of work, and it gets more specific. If you don't find someone that gives you a really fair price that you enjoy. So 10's the max. But what I don't want you to get stuck on is that you could totally get this done for less. And when we said 10, I think I was still thinking about that that roof that we're tearing off now. So, you know, really what I would try to do is figure out how many square it is, because that's going to give us a feel. And tell me how many square it is, I can jump on my roofer and say, hey man, it's this many squares. You got to do this, this, and this. He probably could be like, Mike, it's in this ballpark. Right. And then we would know. Do you see why I'm trying to like whittle this down to figuring out what the scope of work is? Because it leaves us a little bit in the dark, not knowing the scope of work, but that's okay. This will come up. So this was a really lucky opportunity for the group, because there'll be many times when you have stuff that you can't totally measure out, you can't standardize. And when you do, there's a process, and this is the process we're going through. Great example. My first big time I had to go through this was when I had a foundation that was caving in, and, you know, I got a price for $55,000. But more importantly, as I got 5 or 6 estimates, they started telling me how they were going to fix it, what they were going to do. Between that and talking to people, I was able to figure out what to do with the foundation. And then I started getting on the phone. The next layer was I got the sellers to take $55K off the price. But when I actually went to spend the money, I'm like, I'm not spending $55K on this. You can build a house for $100. Like, what the F? No way. Right. So I started, now that I knew what the scope of work was, I started getting on the phone, and one guy's like, dude, for 10K, I can just like lift the house up and put a whole new foundation in for 10K. And I ended up paying 10K to do it instead of 55. And I think the whole contract with the guy was 15, and I got him to do a whole driveway and rip the deck off the back of the house and put a really big, like 2-3 car driveway in, do the foundation. He even waterproofed. I think the total bill was like, with waterproofing, everything was 20. As waterproofing, the driveway was huge. It was like a 6-7K driveway. So I got the driveway, got the deck ripped off, got it waterproofed, and got the foundation done. So I got him to do a bunch of other stuff too. And but the point was, you know, I was able to talk to like a bunch of people on the phone and just eradicate them as soon as, because I knew what was going on. Now that took me, when I say I talked to 5 people, I probably talked to like 15 people. I remember being at that house like multiple days in a week for like half days. It was quite an investment of time. From that though, the reason we don't mind investing that type of time is I now understand foundations at a very high level. And it wasn't just from that one time, but since then I've gotten a lot of deals that have foundation issues because they don't scare me, because I've now gotten a big high level education on them through doing it and talking to all these different guys and figuring it out and kind of hacking what the exact what work was. My personal house, I was able to fix a foundation that I got a 10K price on, which was the cheapest one. I got 20 and 30K. I was able to take, and the guy who was supposed to do it got unreliable. So I figured out how to do it, and I did it myself with a couple Spanish guys. I think it cost me $2,500. And I got a house that's worth, you know, $450K for 220 because of this foundation issue that was so major. It was a major foundation issue, but I know how to fix it now. So this is the same thing. This roof is definitely a thing that would give you an opportunity to buy this, because it's really odd. It's not for everyone. And it's going to take a little bit of research and development. So right now, I still want you to use the same process to weed them, but I wouldn't get too focused on the call with price, because you don't really know. Like, he could be like, yeah, I'll do it for 5. And you'd be like, oh, that sounds cheap. Well, we don't know. It could only be a 3K roof. It could be a 20K roof. I don't think so. We think 10 was our best educated guess at it, because honestly, when I look at that roof, you know, flat roofs don't cost me that much. If I do a flat roof on a row home, it's like 1,500 to 2K for a whole new roof. Like, it's pretty affordable. So, you know, thinking your roof being 5 times bigger, which it likely is at 10K, probably makes some sense. So, you know, that's where we kind of are on that. I would say that. And then, you know, we also want to see, is there any of the roof that you can save, that maybe you don't have to redo all the roof? Maybe the roof's perfectly fine. Is there a way to coat it? Is there a way to, you know, save what's there or just touch up what's there? These are all the questions you get to ask, but what you want to do is weed through all your flat roofers, get comfortable, try to read between the lines, you know, by telling them a price you don't really know. But the fact he said a day and a half sounds pretty solid. I mean, it sounds like he's got people, sounds like he knows what he's doing. You know, you might be worth talking to him. What we don't like is that he don't have a lot of investor experience. So he doesn't have a proven record of working as a subcontractor. So as you're talking to people, what you want to do as you're talking to people, you want to take and start like writing these notes down on each person. So you might say, you know, this was good, doesn't have any record of subcontracting. Now you talk to 5 or 6 other people. There's a lot now, by the way. We got 93 applications, so I'm assuming you probably got at least 10 or 15 people you can talk to. And you know, you got quite a few, I'm assuming, like, because it seems like they're coming in like crazy.
Pull the plug.
I know. I was telling Delonte, stop spending the money, because we're overwhelmed now. That's where we want to be, though, because like, if let's say that your guy, I already forgot, Kenny, your guy Kenny, let's say that he's okay. And he might be, right? I mean, there's right now, just based on what we hear, he might be okay. When you got 93, we have the ability to weed and find someone who's like the perfect fit for this job versus okay. The perfect fit is going to be a lot easier, a lot cheaper, and a lot better versus than okay is going to get it done, but it's going to be more expensive, slower, more of a headache. So we now, right now, I would say we just need to get an afternoon or something where you can just meet a bunch of people. But I want you to talk to 10 or 15 people and pick the best 5 to come out and meet you, all within like, say, 30, 40 minutes each, if that makes sense. You can do that whenever. Like I said, you can do that after you settle, honestly. I wouldn't be so pressed about doing it before you settle because, the roof's not leaking or caving in. So it's not like you can't start the house and you got to protect it. And it might even be better because you'll be out at the house doing it, while they're demoing, you could be meeting contractors, meeting roofers. Because the roof could be done probably in the middle of the rehab or the end if it had to be. If you knew you could save, instead of paying $20K to do the roof, you could do $8K. Well, then that would make some sense. But and when we're going to be talking like labor / materials, but I think they need to see it before they can really start to talk numbers. And when they are talking numbers to you, you just need to say, hey guys, tell me a little bit about how many squares this is, what you're doing specifically. Let's get clear and see if they're willing to get clear with you, because that'll be another thing to be able to tell whether they're doing a good job or not. If they're willing to get clear, then that's good. So this one's interesting. You will run into sometimes you'll have these kind of things that need to be done. Most of the time, it's very easy to standardize. This is not one where you can do that until you get a little bit of information. You got to get a little bit of feedback from an expert. But same thing is that, like me with the foundation guys. So when I got those foundation guys through, everyone was telling me, one was telling me he's going to do carbon fiber tape. One guy said he's going to steel beams in. I don't know, like they all had different stuff they were doing, their special thing they were going. The guy who made the most sense was like, dude, all that stuff's junk. He's like, that stuff doesn't really work for how bad this foundation is. You're gonna have a problem 5 years later. He's like, and honestly, that stuff's super expensive because you can't go get it from Home Depot. They all got like a lock on it so that you can only buy it from like one person. You got to be like a foundation specialist to even buy it. He's like, we could just literally jack the house up, put block in. The block's gonna cost like, I'll do it for 10K. And I was like, sold. I don't have to talk to him. He's like, yeah, and it's brand new, by the way. He's like, no, like put it in right. He basically put in the block and he self-filled it with concrete to make it even stronger. And he put it back like way better than it ever was before. And then he waterproofed it to keep pressure off of it in the future. So yeah, he actually did like an A+ job for 10K. And the people trying to do 55K were trying to do carbon fiber tape. That was a bit of a disaster, honestly. That now that I know what I know about that stuff, that's not for major foundation issues. And this was truly a really bad foundation issue. And they were 55K, right? So you would have thought they would have been the best. The guy actually was the best was the guy who was just like smart, 10K. He was there working with them. Him and like 4 dudes worked for a solid week. They dug out the freaking backyard with a backhoe. They jacked up the whole house with a temporary beam and then just tore out the freaking wall and then put it back. And it was like all like in like 5 days, 4 guys, 5 days. So think about it. Yeah, think about that. I mean, he made pretty good money too, by the way. I've been to his personal house after the fact. He lives in a way bigger house than me. Lives in like a 4,000 square foot house. So he makes money. He's no bozo. He just, he just was, again, he didn't make this harder than it had to be. He kept it simple. So anyhow, so let's look and find some people. Let's start with some painters. So we liked Cassandra. Let's start with her, and then we'll go to a flat roofer next, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We're going to try to call her, and I'll put her on. Make sure you can hear her. Try to see her number 449. Put it on speakerphone so you can hear it.
Your call cannot be completed at this time.
Oh.
Please try again later. En este momento no se puede realizar su llamada.
Spanish.
Favor de intentar más.
So it says 449. I think it's probably 443 because 449 is not an actual number I know locally. So let's try 443-786. Probably just put the wrong number in by accident. We're cold calling. Now we don't even know. Let's see. You guys hear that ringing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 443-786-6205 is not available. The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
That's what I got.
Yeah, that's what you'll get sometimes. They'll call back.
But maybe they're all out working. So.
Well, that's not good because that means they're not available. So here's Julio. And Julio, is he good? 3 to 5 guys. Julio, yeah, this is the drywall guy. So I'm just going to call him as we go through. I'm sure Julio looks like a guy would answer. Honestly, what I would do, Jim, is text them, by the way. So just text them. Matter of fact, before I go to Julio, let me go ahead and text her. Go back one so I remember her info. So I'm going to text her just while we're at it and then just see if this does anything for us.
What does your text say?
Hi, Cassandra. My name is Michael Green. You put in an application to do painting. Please call me when you're free. You put in a application for painting. Please call me when you are free. If you are, sorry, if you are, Cassandra. Just real simple. So we don't, honestly, what I'm going to do too here is I'm going to actually copy and paste this for, just being efficient, since I might have to do it on other ones that don't answer. And honestly, even if I leave a message, I'm sending the same one. So I'm copying and pasting it so I can just change out her name and just put, hi, Julio. Julio will be the next one I'm sending this text to if he doesn't answer. So text, voicemail, whatever you can do, just reach out, because I won't call them back again. If I don't hear back from them, that's a sign they don't really need my business. Does that make sense? It means they're too busy. Like if they don't call me back now, they won't call me back once they're working for me. So I'll literally voicemail, I'll call them, and I'll send a text. If none of that works, then I probably just move on. 6079. So calling Julio now. Now I do a lot less with Spanish people because. Okay, so here's the answer. 1 second. Let me put you guys on mute.
Hello?
Hey, Julio. Hey, Julio. My name's Mike Green. You actually put in an application for doing some painting and drywall.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Awesome. Hey, I just wanted to call and just ask you a couple questions, and I got some work coming up, but we do a lot of houses, and so we got a lot of need for painting and drywall. Do you have any standardized pricing for the paint or drywall?
Yes, actually, we are 5 guys. I'm a crew, my little crew. We are 5 guys, and we charge 25 for hourly each guy.
How much? Sorry.
Hold on. Let me. Can you hear me well now?
Oh, I can hear you better. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yes, how my crew, we are 5 guys. So we charge 25 for hourly each guy.
$25 an hour?
Yes, each guy.
Okay, and everybody's a mechanic working with you?
Yes, we've been doing this for 7 years. 7 years we're doing, actually we have, with demolition, hanging drywall, drywall finish, taping, plastering, and painting.
Okay, got it. Now, that sounds pretty fair. And when you're painting, I'm assuming you got 5 guys. I mean, like a standard, like Cape Cod house, basement and all that, if it's already ready to go. How long does that take you to do, you think? Like maybe 2 days, 3 days?
Depending on the job, because some jobs, we are just painting, that's going to be more quickly. Some jobs we have to repair drywall, plastering, sanding, primer, and painting. So, it's depending on the job, but we do it the best we can.
Yeah, sure. Do you have, when you're working with like a house, I have one right now that's about 1,400 square feet. Drywall is going to be already done and ready for you, all fresh and new. Do you think you can get that done in 2 days with 5 guys?
Yes, I guess.
Okay. The reason I asked is because I have a budget that we need to maintain. I don't mind paying you by the hour, but the way it works with my investor I work with is we have to have like a agreed upon price because we can't leave the door open. So you're open to that.
No, I understand. Sometimes you have to be careful. Some people they say I do this, I do that, and then you waste your time and you waste your money.
For sure. Okay, well, it
Yeah.
sounds like you've got, so what we would do when we're ready to do paint, I'll get you out there to take a look at it. And then from there, if we can agree upon a price to do it, then, you know how long it takes your guys to do it once you see it. So as long as you're making the money you need to make, I'm sure you're fine. But I just need to be able to get it approved by the investor. If it works out, I got a lot of repeat business for you. I got a lot of people working with us and we're doing a lot of houses. So sounds like with 5 guys, you could probably use work all the time.
Yeah, we do it with the best we can. We know what we're doing.
Okay, and then when you're hanging sheetrock, do you have like a per sheet price?
Well, actually, when it's more than 400 sheet, it's more than that. I charge for the ship. It's less than that. I charge you like I say, for the day.
Okay, and how much is it if when it's over a certain amount of sheets?
I can charge you 22 per sheet.
Okay, hang and finish, right?
Yes, hang, of course, hang and finish. Yes.
Got it. All right. It sounds like we're in a close ballpark. So as soon as we're ready, which will be shortly, I'll give you a call. And just remember, my name's Michael Green, and my partner's Nikki. So Nikki probably will be giving you a call when she's ready to get some stuff, just to have you come take a look at it. And if you guys can agree upon a price, then it'll be all good. And yeah, she's got a lot of work for you. So I'll tell her to call you and talk with you, man.
Yep, no problem. I'm ready to start. I have my own equipment, you need to buy the material and put it in the site. That's all.
Okay. And do you work with any other house flippers?
Yes, I had sometimes I get you the contractor, right?
Mm.
You do a contractor, right?
No, we were our own contractor, so that's why we're calling, because we'll hire you directly. That way, you can make
exactly. Sometimes, the owners of the houses, sometimes they call me, or sometimes contractors similar like you, they put their own price and give you my price, so everybody making money,
So basically, you're doing some subcontracting for them.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's great. So yeah, I'm actually the owner and the contractor. So the good news is I don't really need to put any money on it. We just have to, come by a price. But also, if you get a lot of repeat business from us, we do a lot of houses between me and a couple of my partners. So it'd be we're looking for a good sheetrock guy and a good painter always. It's something great to have.
Okay.
So we got one crew that's working for us now, and they do it for like $18 to $20 a sheet. But again, it has to be over 100 sheets for them to come in, because they're they got a big crew like you. And they got to get in quickly and get out quickly. And, their work's really good. But we have too much work for them. So we actually have a lot of overflow. So we'd love to have a second crew. So if that sounds like the ballpark pricing, it sounds close, like, what you're looking to charge sounds fair. We just have to work out some details. So Julio, look forward to me getting in touch with you, or Nikki. We'll talk to you shortly, okay?
Okay, sounds good, man.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Man. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, see you. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
So let's jump in. He's off now. So let me get my headphones back on. You guys could hear that properly. Probably just as good as I could hear it. So Julio sounds reasonable. He's in the ballpark. He's not talking crazy. He's worked as a subcontractor. He's got 5 guys. $200 a day is cheap if those guys are good. It really is just a matter, like we talked about. If those guys can knock some stuff out, then $200 is cheap. If they're slow, then $200 is expensive. I mean, I've had people do $50 of work a day or $500 work a day. And so it ain't unreal. It's not unrealistic for someone to legitimately get $400 to $500 of work done a day for $200. That's a very real thing that happens consistently. So I'm not afraid of the $200 a day, but you seen how I started to whittle it down to say, hey, let's talk a little bit about standardizing it. Can you do it by the sheet? He said 22 a sheet. You see how I dropped. I didn't tell him he needed to do it for 18, but I just dropped that I have another guy doing it for 18. So I'm already like pre-negotiating and planning everything I heard on that call. He's Spanish. He's got guys. He sounds like he's done subcontracting. He's probably worth at least a meeting, if that makes sense. You know, not would I go meet just him? No, because that's probably not enough, right? I mean, you know, like, oh crap, oh, I just hung up. Shit. That was, I just hit a button off, but I'll call her back. But that was Cassandra. It looked like that was the Cassandra calling us back. Let's do that real quick. So I'll call her back in like 2 seconds. But so the key is with him is he, you know, do you guys agree he sounded pretty good? Like that guy sounded like he had some potential to really knock some stuff out. You talk about speeding up a house. It's like guy with 5 guys who is doing good work and knows what he's doing. I mean, you know, he's going to blow through sheetrock and through paint probably. Like he's going to be able to do that quickly. Yeah, because 5 guys, man, you know, that's the crew that does sheetrock for me now has like 4 guys or 5 guys. And I've seen them hang 300 sheets in a day and have the first coat on it. I've never seen anything like it. It's so fast. It's unreal. And they're $18 a sheet, but they won't come in unless you got 100 plus sheets because I think they got so many people that, you know, they can't stay busy, but you have a really big sheetrock job and, you know, you have a reasonably decent paint job. It's not really much for the painting part of it, but for the sheetrock part, you actually got a whole house. So interesting. So what do you think about Julio or anyone else? What do you guys have any feedback? Good things you thought you liked, things that might have concerned you? Like, let's talk through that a little bit before we move on.
I guess my biggest thing is I feel like once I like one person, like I feel guilty calling a whole bunch of other people because I feel like so I think that was like definitely something that I took away because you were able to like end the call and not seem like you were setting any type of either obligation or I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like, because sometimes I feel like I like immediately I'm like, okay, you want to meet me like in like 10 minutes? And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's like a downfall of mine is that I don't, like I meet someone and like, you know, when you said the other day, like give them a call, don't ask a bunch of questions because I'll be like, oh, like how many kids do you have? Like, where do you live?
Definitely
like,
don't ask those because you're right. You'll be like, hey man, just come over, meet me at my restaurant. We'll eat.
Yeah,
I mean, he could be a guy. He totally could be a guy worthy of all that, but we don't give that kind of loyalty until they've earned it.
Right.
I mean, just do a couple jobs with us, and then you can come to the restaurant and have a free lunch or something.
Yeah, but he did sound nice, and I felt myself like getting there. Like I was like, oh my god, I really like him. Like he seems like a cool guy. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we've been like jaded so much that like just like hearing one guy who sounds like super eager to work and like, you know. I don't know, like for me, I would just be like, okay, come over, start now. You know what I mean? Like,
so some really, really big, like great takeaways that you're giving right here, Nikki. I mean, the fact that what you're talking about now, like your instinct to want to be like, just go all in with this guy and then not have any abundance. But like now you're noticing it and you're saying, okay, cool. Because what we're trying to do is I'm trying to get 5 guys that you like as much as him, knowing that like if some of them end up being like, you know, tricky and you know they sounded great on the phone but they're awful in person, well then you're going to have more abundance. Because what's really annoying is when you go all in with Julio and then he gets there and he's not what you thought, or he wants money and now you're kind of left like, well I really want this to work out. You're almost overcommitted to it, and so you just pay him the couple $100 more, and you know obviously across the whole job that ends up being $5,000 to $7,000 in overages. So the key to what we're going to do is create so much abundance that we're going to be able to see like he's basically became our standard at this point. We know that he sounds like a nice guy. I liked everything about him too, and honestly if I was a betting man, which I guess I am a betting man, I would bet on him. But there's no better bet than having 5 people and then I could bet on one of them working out, because I've learned over the years that most people don't. So that was nugget number 1, is like just create more abundance and get on the phone and talk to enough people that you've got multiple people. So that when they get there, if they want to like increase the price or they want too much and you can't work it out, you're going to feel comfortable letting them go. Because most of my guys, this is another piece of the lesson, most of my people I did not get on the first interview with them at the house. I get them to the house and they're like, now we need 2,700 to paint. Well, guess what? I'll take them to the next house and get an estimate. And they're like, no, it's 2,700 again. And I'm like, look, I don't want to keep bringing you out here for these estimates. Like I have other guys doing it for like 2K. The second you go and give the job to someone else for 2K, they tend to get more negotiable. Robert gave me a story, I think he's on the call, where his guy went at 14K and he hired someone else at 11. It didn't work out. And he called his other guy back and he was ready to do it for 10. And it's funny because what Robert did there was actually genius. He just went with someone else and proved to the guy, like, you'll lose my business. Because see, what happens with all contractors is eventually they want to start charging you more because they're always testing the waters. So if you keep a competitive environment where they know that there's other people out there competing for this work, they'll look for ways to cut the cost for you instead of looking for ways to increase the cost, because they don't, they get fearful of losing the business. But if they feel real complacent with your business, like it's locked in, like you guys got married because you love them so much, then they're going to basically just start raising prices on you because they'll feel like they can, right? Why not? Hey, she'll pay me a little more. She's not going to fire me. She'll get, what's the difference between 10,000 and 11,000, right? I mean, it sounds like it's really not, but when you think about 40 to 50 line items, it's a lot of money. It's the difference in being successful and not being successful. So that's a really big nugget. I'm trying to remember what the second one was. The second one, oh, you were like, I'll just meet him in like 15 minutes. So that's another one too. It's just like not getting overcommitted. But there was there was a different one that I wanted to, oh crap. Not talking about the family. Well, probably it. What was the second thing you talked about? You said you were talking about you would try to jump in with them.
Oh, because I mean, it was just mainly just like getting overly eager, I guess, feeling like super eager over the fact that I have one dude that seems reasonable since I've had such bad luck with, I can't remember, but I think that was it.
Okay. No, that makes sense too. And obviously now we got to change our belief system around that a little bit. And we need to control the future of no more, I had bad luck. Now we have to be like, oh, what I did was ineffective. Even the language around it, like I've had bad luck. You didn't have bad luck. You got exactly what you deserved. You're new at this. You're not doing it at a level 10 and you got the result you're doing it at. Right. And that's the way we take 100% accountability. And now you're getting ready to do something much better, right? You're taking this to a much better, higher level. You're going to have way more abundance and you're going to get better results. They're going to be clearly better than what you got before. Will they be the level that I get? Maybe not at first, but they're going to be a lot better than what you got before. So the way I consider whether anything is a success is, did I do it better than the time before? Because if I can keep consistently compounding my results to be better and better over a year, next thing you know, I've made huge leaps. I went from hiring crazy contractors that are on crack to people that are pretty good. I bought a house just yesterday. I bought a house. It's my house that I flipped. I think I was talking to you guys about this before, how that's happened to me in the past. I bought a house that I flipped 10 years ago, and I got to put 30K into it because of how shitty I flipped it 10 years ago. I mean, it was only my first year and a half in business, but I have to tell you, I'm looking at this house and I'm going to show it to the group, maybe on another call. I'll show it to you guys, but it is highly interesting to see what I did 10 years ago. And by the way, this thing started out and it was on the market for 64 days and I had it at 175 and I sold it for 150, 25K less. And I remember the deal. I bought it for 60, put 40 in. I mean, I still made 10K on it or something. It just didn't make the money I thought I was going to make on it. But now when I show you how bad it was and how I missed all the marks, I mean, I took and had a little kitchen when I could have easily moved the kitchen to the dining room. I had a master suite with no master bath. And so that's where I'm putting the 30K and I'm doing the rehab right. I'm not redoing it because it's still actually in pretty good condition from when I rehabbed it, but I'm actually putting all the things that make a house sell in now for 30 more K. And I'm looking at the comps. I think I'll easily get 200,000 for it, which is 50K more than I got back then. But it makes sense why it didn't sell well back then and why it sat on the market because, honestly, compared to who I am today, I'm pretty shocked at how bad I was. I honestly didn't think I was that bad. Right. I really didn't think I was doing it that bad, but apparently that flip tells the real story of who Michael Green was 18 months in. And so don't feel bad if you're in that place because, and so I'll make sure I do that debrief with everyone to show you so that you can get a feel of how much I sucked 18 months in. That was probably 30, 40 flips in, by the way. It was not even the second flip I did. That was 30 flips in and I still sucked. but that's the reality of how these things go. So take that approach, right? You're gonna get better every single time. You're gonna keep stepping it up. You're gonna keep practicing the foundational stuff that makes you better. It's like sitting there practicing a free throw shot over and over until you just can never miss it. That's what we're doing with these contractors. So let me call Cassandra back, and then we'll get to some roofers. I'll do like 2 and 2. And let's see, and then we can hopefully just get some stuff started. So Nikki, when you're ready, is your sheetrock guy doing well? Is he actually doing what he's supposed to do?
Yeah, the only weird thing that's happened is like he called TJ and asked when we were cleaning up the mess. Like I guess he like expected somebody to clean up after him.
His own mess?
Yeah, like all the pieces of drywall and like shit
That's
in the
crazy
house.
talk.
Yeah, he was like yelling at TJ, like, why didn't you, they're there to finish, it's all messy or whatever. And I'm like, I guess, and I asked TJ, I said, you know why? I think because the last 2 houses that he did, we had someone do that. And it just became expectation.
Yeah, it's crazy expectation too, by the way.
But yeah, he's been fine. I mean, they did the first coat of finished stuff today, but we're having a problem because apparently there's no heat. PG&E cut the heat off 3 years ago. They cut the gas line or something.
Oh.
We're having some problems.
Yeah, that's his problem right now. If you don't have any heat, it's going to take forever to dry. We had that problem recently too because we didn't have our heat on. So you have to try to get your heat on or get your gas back, or you can get some burners and try to put some heat in there if you can. That's what we've had to do that before. We buy you can either buy them, rent them. They're only like $150 each, but like oil heater, big flame one. It's like a torch. You don't leave it in there overnight, but you can put it in there in the daytime while you're working.
Okay.
Well, you could leave it overnight if you got fire insurance. Because
I like that house.
well, you'll like it even better the next time you flip it when they give you way too much money. I mean, I can just tell you my fire experience has been amazing. I used to I was so sad when I heard my house caught on fire, like my stomach dropped. And then when they gave me that check, I'm like, yeah, let's just start like getting kids to play with matches in my house. It was like the biggest payday I've ever had on a house was, it's an unfair payday. So I never, say it's my biggest profit ever, but I made $160K on a $235,000 house in Pumphrey, or Pumphrey. So I made freaking $160K profit on that. I don't call that a real profit because obviously there was other factors in that. So let me see if Cassandra will answer. Okay, I'm going to call her now, and you guys can listen, and then I'm going to get the 2 roofers. So you got to feel that I was just keeping it short, keeping it sweet. Really, my whole focus was not as much about their people, their guys. Have you ever worked for an investor? Tell me a little more about that. Do you have standardized pricing? How do you determine when you walk through a property? I didn't get all perfect answers from him, but you know what? He's Spanish. He's got guys. He's worked for house flippers. He's done subcontracting. I think there's enough there for us to say, you know what? And by the way, depending on all the people you talk to, I want you to then, you're not even going to decide who you meet. You see how I left the door open? I didn't even tell him to meet me. I told him, hey, I'll get in touch with you shortly. All right. So I might not get in touch with him shortly. What if we actually find 5 to 6 better people to talk to than him? They're like, no, I'm $18 a sheet, or I'm this much, right? So if we found better people, he might not make the cut. But right now, initially, he's the first guy I called, and there was no reason to disqualify him. I liked him. He sounded like close to a fit. So he's going to make the cut. But as you're writing people down, there might come a time where you're cutting people that are better than the people you worked with in the past. And that's when things get great, when you're starting to when people twice as good as the people you normally work with aren't even making the cut anymore. That's when you're doing a great job, because now the standards have risen. So let's do that. So one more little, we're going to do one more call to Cassandra real quick, and then we're going to do some roofers from there. And then I'm going to try to figure out how to get you these response things. I'll ask Delonte how to do it.
Okay.
Matter of fact, again, I'll tell you, we'll do it in a second.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice message.
Me and Cassandra are playing phone tag. All right, let's go through the list, though, while we're waiting on her to call us back. I'm sure she will. She does what she just did. She texted me, too, and said, hey, I just called you back. And so she's actually been somewhat responsive. You see how, how we just picked him out? I felt like he was a great first call, by the way. But, oh, crap. Hold on a second. Raymond Forbes. So he did feel like, if all of our calls were that good, I couldn't imagine we wouldn't find a really good person to work with. So Julio, I liked that he's special. You know, one thing I liked about Julio is he specialized in painting and sheetrock. He wasn't like, yeah, we do, you know, blinds, roofs, and house cleaning and mortgages, right? He was very specialized. William Wendell, worked for John Molly, first mortgage flipping houses. He's a painter. I'm really honestly, you see how like I'm just looking at white guys and passing on them right now because we got 93. I could literally just never even interview a white person and be totally cool with it because I've been doing this 10 years and I have no white painters right now. And honestly, I had nothing but troubles with painters until for the first few years I was doing this until I found a good Spanish guy. And then I found more Spanish guys and more Spanish guys. And now I got consistency. Like trying to get white painters was like, I don't know, it just was, I guess, like trying to go against the current. So you see how I'm like, yeah, if they're white, I'm considering not using them because I have so much going on. So this is a guy, he's a painter. He's like, I just finished. I got 3 to 5 guys. I'm going to pass on him right now. I might come back to him. Javier Martinez. Now that guy, I was more interested. Yes, I'm currently working for investors. So this guy looks solid, right? This guy paints. He's got 3 to 5 guys. And yes, he's currently working for investors. And he's working. So he's working for investors. He's like that's a 5-star.
Yeah, that was our number one. I had him down as like our number one, Mike.
Yeah, he seems awesome just from this, though, obviously. So now let's get on the phone with him and see if he seems as good in person. And we got Cassandra, so we got a couple people. 274 7594 7594. And this is Javier. Awesome. Okay, he sounds like a bunch of people I've worked with before. I used to have a Javier working for me.
Hello, this is Javier of Premium Decorating. Leave your name and detailed message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Yeah, I'm not going to leave him a message just because I'm going to let you call him since this one seems so good. Okay. So I'm not going to leave him a message, Nikki. I want you to call him and talk with him after his training. And let me see if I can get one more person on. But Javier seems really good. And he speaks good English. His recording actually shows that he actually speaks very good English, which is nice. Okay, so this one says, yes, I've worked with Baltimore MD investors. So I think this is a white guy, but let's talk with him, okay? Because he does, you know, he does say he worked for investors, so that's good. Let's ask them more questions about that. And I wouldn't get too upset if they're not answering. I would think some of the best people would not be answering right now. Does that make sense? They're probably painting and working. Like they're not sitting by their phone. So that's why I like leaving a voicemail, sending a text, and then I fully expect that they'll probably call me back later tonight or something, and which is not uncommon because a lot of them, if they're actually working on the job and in the job, they probably don't have their phone where they can answer it right away. So we're calling Alexander Scott. Hey, is Alexander?
It's outside painting.
Oh, cool. So anyhow, I put out a place ad on Craigslist and you filled out an application for painting and it said Alexander Scott. Is that who I'm talking to?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, man. I just wanted to make sure I was talking to the right person because some of this stuff gets hokey. My name's Mike Green. I own a company called Quick Cash Home Buyers. You filled out an application for painting. I just want to get a little bit of information. Yeah, I'm an investor. I do a lot of house flipping.
Go ahead.
Cool. It says that you've worked with Baltimore MD investors. You work with like some flippers now?
No, actually, we just, whatever investor calls us with like their particular properties and things like that for us to paint, we'll take care of it. Deal with a lot of realtors as well.
Okay. Have you ever, what else do you do for flippers now? Is it just painting or anything else?
We do interior, exterior painting. Also, we do floors as well.
Okay, so it's just painting and floors are kind of that's the stuff you're really good at.
Yeah. Yep. Specialize in it.
How do you determine?
Drywall.
Oh, you do drywall too, or just repairs? Okay.
Well, installation as well.
Oh, got it. Now, from a pricing standpoint, how do you kind of determine pricing? Because I do a bunch of houses, so the reason I'm interviewing is I we have good guys now. But
Well, it's different. It's different for investors.
Okay.
I've learned that over a couple of years. What I normally would charge a regular client that's living in a home or selling a home would be different than an investor because they have a certain kind of budget.
Yeah.
So it's just different.
Okay. Got it. Do you know how much you charge like per sheet to hang and finish if it's like 200 sheets?
Well, usually around $75.
Per sheet, you're saying like $75, and that's material and labor?
Yeah, per sheet. Yep.
Okay, got it. Now, is that painted too, or is that just hang and finish?
No, that's just the hanging. That's not the painting.
Oh, got it. That's hanging and finishing, and you're saying $75 a sheet. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, got it.
Now
cool.
painting basically you kind of round things off like this, just normal size room area. I would say for investor cost wise, like a normal kitchen probably would be around like $200, maybe 185 at the lowest. Regular room size, living room, dining room size, probably anywhere from, I would say, depending on it's everything, 285 to 320, give or take, per room.
So I've got a house right now.
And everything I mean is ceiling, walls, and trim.
Yeah, I got a house right now in the ad that you answered. It basically is like a 1,300 square foot regular house. It's got all new sheetrock in it, trim doors and everything. So no real prep necessary. And I got like $2K usually for the labor, and I usually buy all the material and have it sitting at the job for you. Does that sound like that makes any sense, or does that seem too
How many
low?
rooms is it?
It's like 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, finished. Well, not unfinished basement, but we usually just spray the walls real quick.
2 levels?
Yeah, 2 levels above grade. Yeah, with an unfinished basement.
So 2 levels above, and then 1 finished basement. Well,
yeah, it's unfinished, but we usually do spray the walls, and that's just spray the walls to make them look clean.
Okay. What's the square footage on that?
1,300.
You know the square footage on that?
1,300.
1,300. That might work. Give me 1 second.
Okay, I guess we're on hold calculating right now. I just put it on mute for a second. So give me 1 second. I'll end this real quick. The last thing I want to ask is just how many guys he thinks it'll take just to get more feel. I've already ruled him out as somebody to do sheetrock at $75, not even worth negotiating or talking to. That's just extremely high.
I think it's probably will make that work.
Okay, so it sounds like we're in the ballpark. Okay, well, let me, we're almost to that point now. Sheetrock guy.
I'd like to look at it, though.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Look at it, if you wouldn't mind.
No, we no
But
problem.
It's definitely close where, so you won't hit me right too much. If anything, I might say something like, a couple more $100 if anything.
Okay.
But,
so we're in the ballpark. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
now,
we're real cool.
Do you know how long it'll take you to do it, roughly, from like start to finish, if it's all ready and
well, this is the thing. I'm scheduled up into at least like December 2nd, I think.
Okay. So
which isn't too far around.
Away. Yeah, it's about right. Probably going to be ready.
Something like that. So after that, probably around like 4 days, give or take.
Okay, about 4 days. Perfect. And usually how many guys you have there?
3 to 4.
Okay. Perfect. All right. That way we got a feel for scheduling on our end, people coming after you. All right. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you taking my call, and we'll get back with you shortly.
You have my email address, right?
I do, yes.
Okay. So if anything, you need to send me, just send it there, or you can call or text. It doesn't matter.
All right. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
Okay.
All right. See you later. Bye. So let's talk a little bit about that because that's an interesting call. Well, one, you can kind of get a feel for, like, he was like, if anything, maybe a few hundred more bucks. And then he's like 4 days. So do we see the difference between doing it in 3 days and 4 days? It's hard for him to be profitable if he takes 4 days versus 3. Like with my guys who paint houses that can make money at $2K a house, they know they can't take 4 days or they're not going to make money. At 3 days, they make money, and at 4, they break even. At 5, they lose money. It's that simple. So 4 days means he's a guy, probably, if you were to get him in, just in my opinion, he's probably a guy that's going to nickel and dime you a little bit. He's going to, he's just not profitable at 4 days. He's not pushing his guys to that next limit. 3-4 guys for 3 days, $2,000 don't divvy up very well. He's not gonna leave a lot of money for him to make a living. So, and we want him to make a living, by the way. Remember, we want our people to make profit. So I'm looking at him, and if I'm putting like a rating on him, that rating's a little bit lower. And the $75 a sheet for the sheetrock threw me off. Overall communication was like okay at best. And, a couple times he answered questions incorrectly, which is also something that, when I say incorrectly, like I asked him a specific question about X and he kind of just responded about Y. That wasn't what I asked, and I didn't correct them because there's no value in doing that, but I paid attention to the detail of that happening, because that's a breakdown in communication when people do that. And they don't, like, you say one thing, but then they're like, oh yeah, I do that, but that wasn't what I was asking him, by the way. So that happened early on. If we have the recording, I could break it down later and tell you guys. But the reality is, those things made me rate him like maybe a 3 or something out of 5. It's reasonable. He could be a guy, but with the abundance we have right now, there's probably nothing less than 40 or 50 people that are out of this 90 some that are going to be painters. I feel like we could do better, right? I think our new standard is Julio or better. Does that make sense to the group? Like, if it ain't a Julio or better, we're going to keep fighting until I want to get 4 to 5 Julios out to the house so we can pick the best Julio. He did not feel as good as Julio to me. By the way, Julio seemed more affordable, more subcontractor based. This guy seemed like, he actually even said, I work with homeowners, but I know these guys got to get cheaper prices. So he could totally be a guy you could work with, but I feel like you'd be paying a little more with him. And he would be a little more unappreciative because he's seen the other side. Julio sounds like he just kind of works dead for like investors and stuff. Julio's probably never tasted the great fruit of working for like a homeowner who'll pay you double. Because once somebody has, they think that's the way it is and that's what they should be paid. Fortunately, that's not the reality of the business. So any questions or feedback on that one before we jump into a quick call for a roofer?
I mean, did he really say $75 per drywall?
Well, so you heard me. How many times did you hear me repeat it? That was why I repeated it so many times. It isn't
like
that I have a hearing problem.
75 a room?
You heard that I said, do you provide the paint for that? Like, you hear what I was saying? I asked him 3 different times because it was so ridiculous. But I'm assuming he's like materials. I've heard people like $50 for materials and labor, and that's kind of a standard contractor price for retail. Retail people will pay that, but that's kind of ridiculous for us. But for retail, it's fair. But 75 is like, I don't know. That's what you would charge if you were doing like 10 sheets or something. Like, you're just coming in and doing like some sheetrock in a bathroom, you'd do something like that. But when you're doing a whole house, so it sounds like to me he does sheetrock, but he sounds like he does repairs and light sheetrock work. So if you're doing light sheetrock work, let's say, you got like 10 holes in the house, you got to patch in, that might be like 3 sheets. And he might be like, cool, $300. He'd be pretty fair. Because in that small volume, 75 a sheet would be very reasonable. But when you're doing 200-300 sheets, that's outrageously crazy. And so I think his brain's just working more like patching and repairing. And he did actually say that. If we're being very clear to what he said, he does say, yeah, I patch and do some patch and repairs. And so it sounds like he's not a production sheetrock guy. It sounds like he's just a guy who can kind of go around the house and patch things up and repair them. And then doing by the sheets crazy, because like obviously you're not going to get any sheet count when you run around patching. I mean, we've patched like a whole house. It took 3 guys like 2 days of just crazy patching because my electrician went through the house and poked like 900 holes in. And then that took like 5 or 6 sheets to do that. But it took like all that labor because it wasn't about sheets at that point. It was all about like all these little nitpicky little things they had to do. So it sounds like that's more what he does. But with that being said, he would be a guy that if you're willing to pay a little on the high end, he'd be that guy. But can we live with a little on the high end? We're looking for someone who's lower than our expectation. We're looking for someone who can happily work at $2,000 a house, not someone who can work at $2,000 a house because they need to fill their time in. We're looking for someone who's like, thank you, Nikki, high five. You got another house for me? I'm ready. And they do a great job. They're happy to do it for that price. So we got to get past anyone who we would be pulling to our price. And so for him, I'm putting him probably on the back burner based on that, because I know as you go through this list, and I'm going to get you some access, I know as you go through this list, there's going to be a lot more people. And I don't know if anyone was timing that call, but their calls are generally 3 to 7 minutes. So you can see they can go pretty long. I almost at 75, I almost hung up on him. But, you know, he started doing the calculations and stuff. And so, I mean, because at 75, I pretty much, as soon as he said 75, I weeded him out. Anyone who says 75 or something that dumb, I basically know they're not thinking like, you know, these aren't people who live in the wholesale pricing, subcontractor pricing world. These are people who, you know, want to try to live in like some kind of retail, crazy, I get paid a bunch of money world. And what he might not even be any good, honestly. Who knows? That's the whole thing about when you get somebody at $75 a sheet, you're just as likely to get someone that sucks than if you're not getting someone. So anyhow, let's go. Let's do, we're running out of time. I got a 4 o'clock call with the group. So let's find a flat roofer. And I'm going to talk to Delonte and try to get this to you. James Sherry, he's a painter. We got a lot of people in here, by the way. This list is crazy. Let me get you guys weeding through it. And yeah, see, that's another reason you want to make them quick, because you got to talk to a lot of people. There's a lot of painters. So I guess trying to say I can't find a painter to do it for your price. Yeah, this is why the funnel works so well, because there's definitely a painter to do it for the price. Yes, we work very well together, understand everyone's job to get done correctly. I don't even really know what that means. Like, have you previously worked for an investor? So please explain. Yes, we work very well together. We understand. So see, this is like kind of someone answer. I don't know what question he's actually answering with that response. That feels like it's not really fitting to this question. So that's like I was saying, I'm not real sure what that means. Let me keep moving on, just because he's confused me with that a little bit. I might talk to him, but. And if you could, Nikki, try to call Cassandra, actually try to call her, because, you know, she looked pretty good, and, you know, and get into this list and try to call a lot of people. And, you know, and honestly, ask them what else they do, because maybe, you know, again, you're just sitting there taking notes, and you might find people do other stuff. You might be able to get them in there to come do some tram doors, whatever it is. Because yes, acted as a contractor punch out man for investors, but he's a painter. That's Eddie Majors. Does seem like most of these people are definitely painters. So there's like a lot of painters right now. Flat roofing, Idic, 3 to 5 guys, didn't answer any of the questions, so we'll come back to him later if need be. David Griever, yes, no, he's not working, but he has worked for investors. Let's call David. He's got a good white guy roofer name. Probably just early enough that he hasn't went to the bar yet. But maybe not. I'm not making any promises. We hear music in the background, you'll know.
Hello.
Hey, David. My name is Mike Crane. You filled out an application about doing some flat roofing.
Yes.
You know, on Craigslist. I don't know if you remember. We put an ad out. We got a house in Pasadena. We need to get some flat roof done on.
Okay. And is this the 20 square?
Yeah, it's 2,000 square foot house. I don't even know how many square it is, actually. I probably need you to come measure it and look at it, but it's a little bit of a unique roof, a little different, but, you know, I'm trying to just get a feel for, I'm a contractor, so we do a lot of house flips and got a lot of repeat business, and we're looking for a good, you know, flat roofer guy. I don't know if you do like shingles too, or just do flat roofing.
Yeah, no, we do shingles and slate. I mean, shingles, you know, flat roofing. Yeah.
Okay. Who do you normally work for now? Do you just work for like a company? Do you subcontract or?
Yeah, right now it's me and my father and a couple other. We got like a small crew, and we're just basically working for ourselves. You know, subcontracting for basically you know, bigger contractors. You know, just trying to get our name out there, but it's slowly but surely happening.
Yeah, well, if you do a good job for us, you'd have a lot of repeat business. I mean, we do a lot of houses every year, and I got a bunch of people I work with within my circle, so always looking for a good, reliable roofer. Do you guys have,
Exactly.
and I'm going off subject because for this roof, it doesn't matter, but for future reference, are you able to do any roof certs or anything?
I mean, right now we're not licensed, but I am in the process of getting licensed and stuff. But I mean, I can do roof certifications and stuff. I don't, we can talk and see how you want to play it. But we definitely go up there and inspect the roof and all that.
Okay, cool. I mean, no, I have the ability to do some of it. I just asked, like I said, it's not important for this job, but just, as I'm referring you on, I kind of know what's possible. Okay.
Exactly.
So basically is the best bet for you just to get out and take a look at it. And then, could you come out and just measure, tell us how many square it is, get us a feel for what you can do. What we're really trying to do on this one is we're trying to find out if there's, it's not leaking currently, but it's a little bit of a unique flat roof. It's pretty big, but we're just trying to see if there's a way to kind of like make it nice like a landlord would want to do without like ripping it all apart since it's not leaking. But we're going to need to sell it, so if it doesn't look like it's been either freshly coated or some rubber put on it or something, then we might have some issues. So would you be able to come out and just measure and then give us a feel for what you think would be the cheapest way of getting it like sound for future?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what we could do. So
Okay.
if you want, you could text me the address, and what I'll do is I'll go out there and I'll take a look at everything. And so let me get this correct. Because with flat roofing, there's a few different options you can go with. Obviously, there's two popular ones. It's called EPDM. It comes in 10 by 50 rolls. And that's like that they call that the Cadillac of all roofs, because it's a glue down system, bonding adhesive, and all that.
Yeah.
And of course, the most popular one is torch.
Yeah, like torch down. And then do you have where you do like the grand layer stuff too? Or I mean, we're basically looking for like the Honda Fit of roofs. You know what I mean? Because we're selling the house in a couple months. We just want something it's going to be decent. It doesn't have to have 30, 40 years of life. If it could have 20 is fine. Well, just something, the cheapest way of getting it done and not cutting any corners.
Now they're new roofs, but like if like you said, if the roof doesn't leak and it's not that bad in shape, there's also, it's the aluminum coat. So basically, take the roof cement, you roof cement all the penetration, maybe install new metal around the eave, and then you just silver coat the whole roof. And basically, the silver coat that gives the roof another 5 to 6 years of life, because
that could be all. I mean, yeah, you'll let me know if that works, but we'd be open to that if that's a possibility. Maybe you only got to repair some of it and silver coat all of it. But I'm going to have my partner Jim give you a call today, and I'll set a time up for you to meet him out there. It's like I said, it's a pretty substantial job. It's like a pretty big house, and it's weird to have a roof this big in Pasadena.
Yeah. 2,000 square feet. That's like a 20 square roof. Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah,
like typical roofs in the city, flat roofs, they're like 8 square. So
so it's like
it's a nice one.
Okay, cool, man.
That's good.
Are you how are you available right now? I mean, obviously, I think we don't settle for a few, like maybe a week or two. So obviously, we can get, as soon as we own the property, we can get you started. But I'd love to get you on it, maybe get on the schedule and everything. But for estimate wise, you want to just have Jim give you a call today and then set something up for Friday or Monday or Saturday, whatever. Okay, cool.
Yes, that'd be perfect.
All right, I have him give you a call shortly. Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks. No problem.
All right, see you later. Bye. So, hey, Jim and Nancy, I don't know, just quickly, let's see where we are time-wise. We're pretty good still. I like the way he was talking already. He's talking about putting some silver coat on there. By the way, that's a totally real idea, because like he might be able to just take and fix what's broke. So let's say there's like 10% of the roof needs a little bit of replacement or fixing. They do this all the time. You don't need it. When you get flat roofs, one of the cool thing about a flat roof is you don't have to replace the whole roof if most of it's good and maybe just a couple spots are bad. You can replace those spots and then silver coat everything, and it gives you another 5-7 years, and silver coat's cheap. Like the silver coat is like just rolling some paint on essentially. And it's like, for a big roof like that, I mean, we might have a way with him. This guy might be like smart enough to be able to come in and maybe do it for $3,000-$4,000. How awesome would that be? I know we're all going out for crabs if that's the case. And that's going to be on you guys if we can get it done that cheap. But you see how we're already getting some like better ideas, right? I mean, I'm feeling like, you know, I kind of like this guy. Now, with that being said, you could set up a time with him. Mainly reason I'm letting you set a time up with him so soon is because he sounds like he'd be a good guy to take a look at it. I already set the tone for him trying to find a cheaper Honda Fit way, not the Cadillac way, right? The cheap way. Can we silver coat it? He's going to be looking to silver coat it now, looking to do just bare minimum. So hopefully with that seed I planted, he's going to come out and look at it from the perspective of like, can we save this? Because that's how I look at everything. Like especially anything that's $10,000. If there's a way for me to do it for $3 and provide a decent roof that's going to have a lot of years of life, then we're good to go. That's going to be something that happens 100% of the time. So that's why I feel like you could actually go and meet with this guy simply because, but with that being said, if you're going to meet him, you might want to call a few other people knowing and try to schedule them also while you're out there meeting them. And that could be whenever you guys think that is, because you know your seller. So, hey, Jim and Nancy, are you still there? Or Jim or Nancy, either one. Sorry. Hey, Jim.
Hello, we're here.
I got you. Yeah, I had you muted. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, he's talking about the same thing you put on mobile homes, fibered aluminum roof coating.
Aluminum roof coating's fine though. Whenever, yeah, you can put that on flat roofs. You can also do hot tar. Remember I was talking about hot tar. That's similar to aluminum coat. So there's a lot of things you can do on a flat roof that don't require you ripping it down to the joists and doing all that. Now, obviously on that overhang thing, that thing's destroyed, but the house itself, I mean, you know, with no leaks, suggested it might be in fairly decent shape, and we might be able to find a way to just like make it look fresh and new. So that way, when a home inspector goes up there, if he sees it's got a beautiful fresh new coat on it and you can get a roof cert, then you'll be in good shape. Now, he can't give you the roof cert, but you can easily call someone after the fact and just be like, hey, I bought this house this way, you know, can you certify it for me? And a lot of times we can get roof certs done for like $300 to $500. So if you get him to do it for $3 and then call someone else to certify for $5, I'm just running numbers, but I don't even know if 3 is a real number, by the way. But, you know, he sounds like he would be affordable, and like he's got his, you know, like he could come out here and find you a cheap way to do it. And he was open to it. He wasn't giving me any crap about it when I was saying, hey, can we just looking for a cheap way to get it done? So, you know, try to find, that was a good conversation. So kind of nice, right? We're having good conversations. We didn't have a lot of them because we ran out of time, but you see, these aren't that hard. And, you know, you see how we're being super critical, every little detail, but the key to this is to make this all work. It's just don't meet everyone as soon as you talk to them. The normal way people do it is they talk to one person, then they go meet them, and then 3 days later they meet them, and then that person don't work out, and then they go back to the phone and they meet someone 3 days later. Next thing you know, you talk to 3 people over a week and a half, 2 weeks. Like this, all we have to do is supercharge it and take and get, when you get out there to meet him, get on the phone. You got enough flat roofers here that you should be able to get a couple other people to meet you over the next few days. You want to get in front of a lot of people, and you know, depending on what David says, he says like, no, I think you can do that. And he's like, no, I can make this all work. If he gives you a number you're really excited about, that's like way less than 10K, like get excited about that. So when someone's like, I'll do it for 10, see, most people get excited when someone says they'll meet their number. I'm more excited when they'll do it for 3. Like, you know, to give me some kind of like, that's what gets me excited, because we know with that roof, that estimate wasn't standardized. So we know the 10 could easily be 3. It could be 12. It could be 9. It could be 8. It's not really I just knew 10 would be a solid number that we likely could get it done for. And also though, I wouldn't be surprised if we could do it for 3, right? Totally, by the way. And that's $7,000 in your pocket. And you know what? There's probably somewhere else on the rehab you'll end up needing that. So like, there's nothing like taking any one big thing and getting it done cheaper. And that's the key to and the power of what we're doing here, is that we can literally just interview people until we find that person. I interviewed 15, 20, 30 HVAC guys for like over 2 months, probably, when I was newer. And I found a guy that would do all ducts, HVAC, everything for $4,500. And then I found a guy for 5, and I worked with both of those dudes forever. The guy that ended up being 5 ended up being the most reliable. He's my guy today. I'm still working with him 6, 7 years later. No, 8, 9. I guess it's been almost 8, 9 years we've been working together. Holy crap, it didn't seem like that long. He's working with me. I was only 2 years in the game when he started working with me, so it's been almost 8 years. So with that, though, he's now $5,600 for what he was at $5,000 6 years ago, and that's legitimately because prices of materials have went up. He really is still making the same money from the labor piece, But, you know, all the work that I did back in the day, it took me 2 months to find this guy, but I got the gift of being able to work with him for over 8 years now. And he's still my main guy. Works with me, honestly. And he just works for me because eventually he started working for me more and more, and then less and less for others. So that's how this works. When you put the hard work into finding a good roofer, like not a guy can do it and it drives you crazy, that his pricing is just a little higher than what you want. I'm talking about someone that's doing it for the price you expect or cheaper, and then he just comes out and he's happy to do the work. And you guys have a mutually very respected relationship of them saying, oh yeah, you call and they're like, oh, hey, what's up, Jim? Oh, dude, yeah, man, you got another roof? Great. He's excited to work for you. Not like, oh, yeah, I guess I can get out. And they're like, I hate working for that cheap bastard. You know,
yeah, let me put you on hold.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, because you know, they look, some people think that of us. Our job is to weed that out if they think we're cheap bastards, and find someone who thinks we're awesome. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
So I gotta jump on the 4 o'clock call. You're more than welcome. Anybody wants to jump on that, you guys can want to continue the conversation. But that was the start of it. We got a lot of work to do. I'm going to get Delonte to send this document and get you access to this Google form. I'm going to get him the goodies. So you both can go into this and just start calling flat roofers, and Nikki start calling painters. And what I would love to do, and maybe Monday or whenever you guys feel like you're getting to a place of like some good results, let's talk about it some more. Let's keep having a discussion around it. And if you get through this whole list and it's not working, then we'll start putting more ads out. So, I mean, you can see that within this 93 people, I would be surprised not to find a good flat roofer, and I'd be surprised not to find a good painter. However, I'm totally willing, if I don't, to go and do this again for a total investment, $20, $30 right now. And that's for two different trades. Really only 15 if you guys were doing it for your individual trades. So you can see that, like, if you're willing to do this over and over and over until you find that rock star. And what's really great about a rock star is he will know other rock stars. So rock star roofers know rock star electricians. Right. My next best electrician came from the plumber who I told you about. So that plumber's actually given me a lot of good referrals over the years. So it's pretty awesome. So now he isn't just, I didn't really just net the great plumber for 8 years. I actually netted like a great electrician I'm still working with today too, that I've had for about 6 years. And he's referred a few other people, which has been pretty cool. So, you know, that it's a really big value. So you see, it's a lot of work, but the payoff is freaking crazy big. You talk about wanting to make extra money. There you go. This is how you do it. You got to get real super gangster about finding these people. So I got to go to my next call. I hope you guys found this helpful.
Thank you, Mike. It was awesome.
Great. Big help.
All right. We'll make sure we do more of it. This won't be the last of it. So we'll talk some other trades and we'll keep going. Okay. Everybody have a good day. Talk to you later.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.